great day. What an honor it is to be here in Dubai with you today. In every organization, every moment, every bold ideal, there's a moment where purpose meets opportunity, where passion fuels strategy, and where possibility becomes real. And that intersection is where leaders are made. It is where enterprises are shaped, where the future is written. My goal today is simple: to elevate the way you view leadership, not just as a role or a title, but as a transformational force that empowers people, builds systems, and unlocks possibility on a global scale. As we gather here among innovators and visionaries from across the world, there is no better place to talk about the power of leadership to transform not only business, but people, communities, and entire nations. Before we go any further, I want to share a brief video with you, created by one of our companies, Beam Me Studios. It captures a powerful idea at the heart of today's conversation. The idea that leadership is not just about intelligence, strategy, or skill. It's about meaning. Meaning intelligence gives purpose, direction, passion, discipline, and possibility momentum. As you watch, reflect on your own journey and where meaning is calling you next.
As the attention economy races around us, and AI tools are rapidly transforming media, social media, e-commerce, and even our daily lives, it's time to ask a foundational question. What does all this mean? For you, the ones you love, and ultimately the world we live in. Will it be more attention-grabbing, social media scrolling, siloed and isolated living? Is this going to be another high-tech, AI-powered corporate hamster wheel that we keep spinning on and on and on? The truth is, if we don't change how we operate, it will. It's time for a whole new approach. Meaning intelligence. We call it MI. Just like we've developed a broader understanding of our emotions and developed emotional intelligence, it's time for us to develop a broader understanding of meaning and develop meaning intelligence. Meaning intelligence is where we harness our intention and intuition to navigate life's challenges and opportunities, guided by a cultivated set of core values and driven by an ongoing developing authentic self. With meaning intelligence, we don't just chase success, we create a life of profound significance, where every choice resonates with what we really find meaningful. There are so many times where we're dragged away from that. We need tools and frameworks that can keep us moving towards that. This involves developing and refining a meaning model that encompasses living life, relating to others, learning and growing, and dreaming. What if we could harness all the powers and promise of AI to empower us to do that? An AI that would empower discovering, connecting, learning, and growing. A set of tools to help create our meaning models that would give us new ways to focus, redefining how we define our time and energy, directing them into building more meaningful lives for ourselves, the ones we love, and ultimately to the world that we build. This is our vision and mission at MI. And this is an invitation to join us. Let your life become an extraordinary tapestry woven with purpose, passion, and unparalleled meaning.
When meaning becomes your compass, leadership becomes who you are, not just what you do. Let's explore how that transforms enterprise at every level. What you see here is what I call the leadership intersect. Every leader arrives at this intersection sooner or later. The moment where choices, values, purpose, and responsibility all meet in one place. The first truth is leadership is intentional. No one drifts into great leadership. You don't drift there by accident. You must choose your direction, choose your impact, and choose the kind of world your leadership will help create. The second truth, enterprise is transformative. Enterprise, whether it's business, a ministry, a movement, or a nation, exists to transform something. It is the engine that turns ideals into action and action into outcomes that change people's lives. And when you combine these forces, purpose plus passion plus possibility equal power. Warren Bennis postulated that power is the capacity to translate intention into reality and sustain it. That means real power isn't about control. It's about converting intention into impact, vision into systems, and possibility into outcomes that endure. This is the intersection where leaders are formed and where enterprises take flight. Purpose is the engine of leadership. It is the internal force that drives everything you do. How you show up, how you decide, how you build, and how you lead. And there are 4 things purpose gives every leader. First, purpose gives you direction. When you know why you're here, you stop wondering and start moving. Direction creates momentum, and momentum creates impact. Second, purpose clarifies decision. Leaders are faced with constant choices. But when your purpose is clear, your decisions become clear. Purpose becomes the filter that tells you what to say yes to and what you must say no to. Third, purpose attracts resources. People, partners, investors, and opportunities are drawn to leaders who know what they're doing and where they're going. Purpose creates alignment, and alignment attracts provisions. And fourth, purpose becomes your internal GPS. It keeps you centered when things shift. It keeps you grounded when challenges rise. And it keeps you moving forward when the path is not visible. Purpose is not just an ideal. It is the key ingredient of the fuel that sustains leadership when everything else is being tested. Passion is the fuel of enterprise. If purpose is the engine of leadership, then passion is the fuel of enterprise. Passion is what gives an organization a heartbeat. It drives its energy, its willingness to push past limitations. And then again, there are 4 essential things passion brings to every enterprise. First, passion creates momentum. When passion is present, things move. Teams move. Ideals move. Barriers begin to fall because passion refuses to settle for good enough. Second, passion energizes teams. People don't follow leaders because they have a title. They follow leaders who have a fire. Passion is contagious. It lifts morale, increases creativity, and turns routine work into meaningful contribution. Third, passion moves people from compliance to commitment. Compliance is doing what is required. Commitment is doing what is inspired. Passion elevates teams from obligation to ownership, from task-driven to mission-driven. And finally, 4, passion, purpose plus passion equals acceleration. When you combine a clear purpose with an ignited passion, things just don't move, they accelerate. Momentum becomes faster. Engagement becomes deeper. And enterprise becomes unstoppable. The key to escaping the gravitational pull of impossibility is the velocity in which you choose to take action. Passion increases that velocity. It pushes you beyond hesitation and lifts you into execution. Passion is the force that transforms effort into enthusiasm and vision into velocity. Possibility, the space where vision lives. It is that realm where leaders stop asking what is and start asking what could be. Therefore, you got to, it's going to be 4 all the time. Leaders expand belief. Leadership is not just about expanding the capacity of others, it's about expanding their beliefs in what is achievable. When a leader raises belief, they raise the ceiling of potential for everyone connected to them. Second, innovation lives between constraint and creativity. Constraints are not the enemy of innovation, they are the birthplace of it. Innovation emerges when creativity is forced to navigate limitations with imagination instead of fear. Every breakthrough occurs in the tension between what is restricted and what is envisioned. Third, it takes courage to imagine and courage to execute. Vision requires imagination, yes, but execution requires bravery. The courage to step forward when the outcome is not guaranteed. And the courage to build what others only talk about. Fourth, leaders escape the gravitational pull of impossibility. Every compelling vision has a gravitational force working against it. The force of doubt, fear, scarcity, and resistance. To escape Earth's gravitational pull, you must reach a speed of 11.2 kilometers per second, or over 26,000 miles per hour. In the same way, to escape the gravitational pull of impossibility, you must reach a velocity of purpose, passion, and action that exceeds the resistance around you. Anything less, you will be pulled back into the ordinary, back into the status quo, back into the enemies of possibility. Possibility lifts you from limitations into acceleration, from hesitation into action, from what has been into what can be. I want to pause here and share a piece of my journey, because leadership is not just a theory to me. It's personal. It's lived. It's been shaped over 40 years across multiple industries, multiple countries, and multiple callings. I've led in ministry, in business, in community development, and now in global enterprise. And what I've discovered is that leadership is forged not in comfort, but in challenge. Consider this. As we've been building Barrett Enterprises, I've been told more than once that I was dreaming too big. How many have heard that story before? I've had board members resign because they couldn't see the vision. I've had peers tell me to slow down. I have family members say, I don't understand. But possibility rarely makes sense to people who are committed to the familiar. Like many of you, I've had to turn adversity into advantage. I've had moments where resources were scarce, support was thin, and the path was unclear. Moments when it would have been easier to shrink back rather than step forward. But there was a turning point, a moment where possibility reshaped my path. A moment when I realized that leadership doesn't begin when conditions are perfect. Leadership begins when you decide to move anyway. And every major breakthrough in my life, every new level of impact, every expansion into new industries, every global opportunity has come because I refuse to let adversity, opinion, or misunderstanding define my destiny. My story is not about success. It's about resilience, about faith, and it's about the unwavering belief that possibility is always bigger than circumstance. Which takes me to the leader's mandate. Every leader, regardless of industry, title, or nation, operates under what I call the leader's mandate. It is a simple mandate. It's not easy. And it requires 3 commitments. Leaders must first see clearly. Clarity is the leader's advantage. When everyone else sees obstacles, leaders must see opportunity. When others see limitations, leaders must see possibility. Clarity cuts through confusion and focus your energy on what truly matters. Second, leaders must stand firmly. Leadership requires a spine. Doesn't it require a spine? Not just a skill set. You will face pressure, opinions, resistance, and moments when standing is harder than moving. But leaders stand on principle. Leaders stand on purpose. And leaders stand even when standing alone. The third, leaders must serve boldly. Service is not weakness. Service is influence. Bold service means elevating others, empowering others, creating platforms where people can succeed. Bold service transforms followers into partners and teams into movements. When you serve boldly, you don't diminish your power, you multiply it. Seeing clearly, standing firmly, serving boldly. These are the leader's mandate for impact in any area you touch. Muhammad Ali said, "He who is not courageous enough to take a risk will accomplish nothing in life." And I met him on a couple of occasions, and he was more than just a fighter. Ali understood that every leader must embrace there's no vision without risk, no innovation without uncertainty, and no possibility without the courage to step beyond what is safe. Risk is not the enemy of leadership. Risk is the doorway to impact. Every breakthrough you've ever admired, every enterprise that has shaped the world, every movement that has transformed nations was birthed by someone who was courageous enough to take risks. And the truth is, if your vision doesn't require courage, it's not big enough. Ali reminds us that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that purpose is greater than fear. Enterprise is not just about building organizations, it's about building outcomes that transform communities. When we talk about enterprise with impact, we're talking about leaders who see business not as a transaction, but as a transformational force. Enterprise as a community transformation. This means stepping into gaps where others see decline, creating opportunities where others see limitation. Enterprise becomes a catalyst for rebuilding, restoring, and reimagining what community can become. It's also about economic empowerment. True enterprise lifts people. It creates jobs, opens pathways, and gives families the chance to rise. When you empower people economically, you unlock dignity, mobility, and hope. There are sustainable solutions. Impact is not about short-term wins. It's about long-term systems. Sustainability means creating models that endure, solutions that replicate, and initiatives that outlive the leader who started them. And then there is leave a legacy and not leftovers. This is the heart of enterprise impact. Your work should not fade when you're gone. It should live, breathe, and flourish through people and communities you have touched. Legacy is built intentionally through purpose, passion, possibility, and enterprise that is committed to transformation. Then there's the possibility impact. Possibility is powerful, but possibility alone does not create impact. Impact happens when possibility is partnered with three things: a transformed mindset, an intentional strategy, and a disciplined execution. Mindset, that's where beliefs set the boundaries. Your mindset determines the limits of your leadership. If your belief is small, your impact will be small. If your belief expands, your outcomes expand. Mindset is the inner architect of possibility, the structure that determines how high you can truly build. Strategy is the structure that turns vision into action. Vision without structure is imagination. Structure that turns imagination into movement. Strategy aligns people, resources, timelines, and outcomes so the dreams become a design. And the design becomes a deliverable. Strategy is how leaders turn someday into today. Into today, now. Execution is the small steps that create massive outcomes. We heard this before with some of the panelists and other speakers, that every great accomplishment in history, including the pyramids on the screen, was built one stone at a time. Execution is the discipline of consistent action. It is the daily commitment to move, to build, to refine, and to keep going. Small steps may feel insignificant, but over time they create structures that stand for generations. When mindset, strategy, and execution converge, possibility becomes impact. Then there's the power of alignment. Leadership becomes powerful when everything in your life and enterprise begin to align. Because alignment is the bridge between intention and impact. Let me show you how alignment multiplies possibility. See, purpose leads to clarity. When your purpose is clear, confusion disappears. You stop chasing everything. You focus on what actually matters. Purpose shapes the vision and creates clarity of direction. Then there's passion and energy, and I can go over the details with you later. I'm going to get through on my time. Then there's possibility and alignment, then alignment and acceleration. You don't have to force momentum. Momentum finds you. Nelson Mandela said, there's no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you're capable of living. What a powerful truth. Mandela reminds us that settling is not humility. Settling is surrender. There's no passion in shrinking your vision. There's no purpose in playing small. There's no possibility in accepting a life beneath your potential. Leaders do not settle. Leaders ascend. Leaders stretch. Leaders rise into the version of themselves that their purpose demands. And here's the truth. Every one of us in this room is capable of living a life greater, far greater than the one we've imagined so far. Not because circumstances are perfect, but because possibility is present. Mandela's words are an invitation to live boldly, to live courageously, and to refuse to settle for anything less than what your life was designed to stand for. So let's take action. Continue to lead with intention. Continue to build with integrity. Continue to inspire with purpose. And continue to stand in possibility. I want to leave you with something that has guided me. Leadership is not who you are in the spotlight. It is who you empower when no one is watching. Spotlight reveals you, but empowerment defines you. Leadership is not performance. It's responsibility. It's stewardship. It is the quiet, consistent work of lifting others, building others, and believing in others long before the results ever show up. If the people around you are not rising, then your leadership is not working. The true measure of a leader is not how high they climb, but how many people rise because they cross your path. Empowerment is legacy, and legacy is leadership that lasts. As leaders, we are not called to repeat what has been done. We're called to imagine what has never been. We're called to build what has never existed. We're in a city that didn't exist like it does today. We're called to boldly go where no one has gone before. Bold leadership while fear is still in the room. Bold leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. Bold leadership is not being chosen. It's about choosing yourself, choosing your purpose, and choosing the future you were here to shape. The world does not advance because of the caution. It advances because of the courageous. Conference, I challenge you. Go back to your organizations, your communities, your nations, and lead with intention, build with integrity, and stand in possibility. And may you boldly go to the places your calling has been waiting for you to reach.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Barrett Enterprises, whose 7-year mission is to seek out new businesses, create new possibilities, empower new leaders, to boldly go where no one has gone before.